Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about preposition phrases, and in particular, where do they appear within a sentence? Because that's sometimes one of the hardest parts of drawing sentence trees, is figuring out where do the preposition phrases link inside those sentences. So just before we get into the position within a sentence, I want to talk a little bit about preposition phrases in general, their basic function within a sentence. And so there are some very typical purposes or functions for preposition phrases. Probably the most common is we use preposition phrases to indicate the location of some kind of entity, some location in space. So we could have a preposition phrase like under the bed, in the car, beyond that post, above the skyline, and these are all locations, positions, spatial orienting kinds of expressions that we use preposition phrases. So we are locating some kind of entity in space. But we know that prepositions do more than just mark space, so we also use preposition phrases to mark time frames of things. So we have preposition phrases like in the summer, on the weekend, during the presentation, and all of these things mark the time frame of something. We also use preposition phrases to mark the manner. Someone is doing something in a particular manner. So we could say someone did something with gusto, or something happened without interruption. And so we're marking some sense of manner of the action. And then another one that is typically we find preposition phrases marking is topic, something like it was a movie about New Zealand or a report on the poverty rate in Canada, where it's marking the topic of some kind of entity. Now that we have a sense of what we can use preposition phrases for, we need to figure out where they surface within a sentence. So one of the positions we find preposition phrases is immediately after the noun it's describing. So the noun it's locating in space or indicating the time frame of something. So right after the noun. A noun like report. So my report on the poverty rate in Canada. So the topic of that report surfaces immediately after it in the phrase. So the preposition phrase comes right after the head noun, or the box under my bed, where it's describing the location of the box. So that's a very typical position, is for the PP to surface immediately after the head noun of the thing that it is describing. Another position we find preposition phrases is at the very end of the predicate. And in this case, it's quite often describing something about the verb. So it's not the noun it comes after, but it's the verb of the sentence, the main head verb of the sentence. So we could say something like, we met on the weekend. And so on the weekend is the time frame of the meeting event, like when it is that you are meeting with someone. Or she danced with glee, and with glee is marking the manner of the dancing. So it is completing our understanding of the head verb of the sentence, or they skied in Banff, and it's in Banff is the location of the skiing. So those are the kinds of positions we typically find these preposition phrases surfacing. But for transitive verbs, we have the complexity of having both of these situations happening at the same time. So this is a very typical structure for a verb phrase. For transitive verbs is you have a direct object, so the noun phrase there marking the direct object, and then you have a preposition phrase following that. So then what do we do in terms of linking in the preposition phrase? Where do we link it in? So one possibility is that it is linked into as a sister to the head verb of the sentence. Another option is that it's linked into the head noun as sister to the head noun of the direct object of that noun phrase that the preposition phrase comes right after. So how do we decide where do we link the preposition phrase in? Well, we do that by looking at the meaning of the preposition phrase. We have to look to see what does that preposition phrase actually mean in the context of the sentence, and what does it complete our understanding of. Because in either case, it'll be some kind of complement, and complements complete our understanding of things. So we need to look at the meaning to figure out what is it completing our understanding of. Is it completing our understanding of the action encompassed by the verb or denoted by the verb, the head verb of the sentence, or is it completing our understanding of the entity that it comes after inside as the main noun inside the direct object? So, for example, we have a sentence like, we met the realtor on the weekend. So where do we link on the weekend into our sentence? Well, it depends on its meaning. So we have to focus on what does on the weekend mean. So this is a time frame, and does it complete our understanding of the time that we were meeting the realtor? So the meeting part of the sentence, we met on the weekend. Or is it completing our understanding of who we met? Was it a realtor on the weekend that we met? Right? Like you said, who did we meet? The realtor on the weekend. Well, in that case, no. It's not who we met that on the weekend is describing. It's when we met them. So you see, here is the tree for met the realtor on the weekend. And there's our little preposition phrase, on the weekend. And I've linked it into the tree as sister to the head verb. So there's my head verb, and you see how the preposition phrase is its sister node. So in this case, this head verb meet actually has two complements. It has the direct object, the realtor, and it has the preposition phrase of this time frame. So here we met someone sometime. You see how that would be a little bit different if the sentence was, we met the realtor from Calgary. In this case, what does from Calgary complete our understanding of? Is it the location of the meeting, or is it a description of the realtor? So in this case, from Calgary is describing the realtor. It's not describing the location of the meeting or any sense of spatial understanding of the meeting. It's a description of the head noun of the direct object. So who did we meet? We met the realtor from Calgary, right? That whole thing, the realtor from Calgary, is the direct object. It answers that verb something question. Did we verb something? Did we meet something? No, we met the realtor from Calgary. So that whole piece goes together as the direct object. So the preposition phrase is inside the direct object noun phrase. Now we have this neat situation in English where sometimes we have ambiguous preposition phrases. So look at the sentence, I saw the woman with the binoculars. Can you see how this sentence has two different interpretations? It has two different interpretations depending on what you assign with the binoculars as a complement to. What does with the binoculars complete our understanding of? So one interpretation would be that I have binoculars, and using those binoculars, I saw the woman. So in this case, with the binoculars is completing our understanding of the seeing event, right? So you have the head, or you have the preposition phrase there at the end, and it is sister to the head verb, see. So it completes our understanding of seeing. We saw someone somehow. In this case, it's kind of like a manner expression where it says somehow. How did we see the woman? We saw her with binoculars, as in using binoculars. The other interpretation is that the woman has the binoculars, and with the binoculars is describing which woman we saw, in which case the preposition phrase is now completing our understanding of the head noun inside the direct object. Who did we see? The woman with the binoculars, right? All of that goes together as the direct object. So it's kind of neat we have these ambiguous kinds of structures in English. So basically, whenever you encounter a preposition phrase at the end of a sentence, you have to stop and assess the situation and decide, what is it completing my understanding of? Is it completing my understanding of the head verb of the whole sentence, or is it completing my understanding of the noun, the head noun of the direct object that it is coming right after? So I would write down these sentences and then decide whether they are or where you would find the preposition phrase. So she often plays music from Jamaica. He usually plays catch in his backyard. And then sometimes we have both situations where we have both a direct object and something else after. They sometimes play music from Jamaica in their backyard. So So just jot down these sentences and draw trees for them, and I will post the answers on Blackboard so you can check your trees on Blackboard. Just before you do that, and we head off to do that, let's just talk about it briefly. So from Jamaica. Is from Jamaica describing the location of the playing, or is it describing the type of music we play? Right, that's the first decision we need to make. In the second one, in his backyard, is that describing the type of catch that we're playing, or is it describing the location of the playing? Right, so you can decide where it links into the tree from that. They sometimes play music from Jamaica in their backyard. So here we have two different complements. We have two different preposition phrases. So again, in their backyard, is it describing the music or the playing? From Jamaica, is it the music or the playing? Right? You have to make those decisions and then link them as sister to the appropriate node once you've made that decision. So hopefully that makes sense, and you can have some fun drawing some trees. Good luck, and check your answers on Blackboard. Yeah. Bye.